In today's digital landscape, managing online traffic is akin to orchestrating a symphony. Every request, every connection, every interaction must flow seamlessly, securely, and efficiently. But how do you conduct this intricate dance of data without getting lost in the sauce? Enter Traefik, a virtual maestro for your online services. Imagine having a skilled conductor at the helm of your digital operations, guiding each note to its perfect place, balancing the melody, and ensuring that the entire performance is flawless. That's what Traefik does for your online environment. Let's explore how this cutting edge tool can become the virtuoso of your digital orchestra, turning complexity into harmony, making sure that your online services hit all the right notes. Well, what is Traefik? Traefik is a cutting edge tool that acts as a traffic manager for online services. Think of it as a virtual traffic cop, directing online requests to the right places, balancing the workload, and ensuring that everything runs smoothly and securely. What does it do exactly? It guides online traffic, just like a cop directs cars. Traffic directs online requests to the right servers. It also balances workloads. It ensures that no single server gets overwhelmed by distributing tasks evenly, handles security certificates. It can take care of the complex task of managing online security certificates, keeping connections secure, supports modern business applications. It's designed to work well with today's complex online applications, provides insights. It'll help you understand how your online services are performing, and that is valuable insights as you can get tracing and metrics. All right, so we're going to start off with the basic setup. We're going to create the traffic.yaml file first. And the first thing we're going to do is enable the dashboard. And that's because we want to do this for the demo. You don't have to do this if you don't want to, but I think it's nice to have. And then we're going to set up the Docker provider. And we're just going to point this to the Docker socket, and we're not going to expose every single container by default. So make sure you add that. We want to kind of control which ones we're exposing. And then we're going to set some ports. So we have our entry points. We're going to do normal HTTP and HTTPS. We're going to call them web and web secure. Then we're also going to add a metrics port, and we're going to put that on port 8083. And we're going to put insecure skip verify. So this is between traffic and the container, so that way they don't have to have an HTTPS connection. If it requires it, it'll skip it and just ignore the certificate error. If you wanted to quickly get this up and running with Docker with commands, you could just run these commands. You would make two directories, logs and certificates. You would create the proxy network. You would then run the container, set up all the volumes correctly, and then set all the ports, and it should deploy. You may need to add sudo to the beginning of these, but if you wanted to do a quick Docker run command, that's how you would do it. The one command that we do need to run though is docker network create proxy. You may need to put sudo in front of it. This is just going to create the network that traffic is going to sit on, and it's going to be able to find any containers that exist on that network. So if they don't exist on that network, they won't be able to be discovered. Now we're going to go over the Docker Compose, and this is my preferred way of doing it. You can do it two different ways. I'm going to create just a logs volume and a certificates volume for the time being. You can also just create these as local folders if you'd like though. First, create those volumes, and then we're going to create a service. You can name it whatever you want. I'm just going to name it traffic. I'm going to give it the container and host name. I'm going to bind the Docker socket to the one in the container, bring in our traffic YAML to this location, and then also set up our logs and our certificates. We're going to set these up later, but you can just do it now. And then these are the ports that we're going to open up that traffic can use, and then we're going to attach it to the proxy network. And then these are the labels that traffic is going to use to expose the dashboard. We'll go over those later. We also have the demo. It's just an nginx container, and then we don't expose any ports, so we're only going to be able to discover this through the reverse proxy. And then I'll go over the labels later as well. We're going to declare this proxy network as an external network. So to get this up and running, just run docker compose up -d. You may have to run sudo at the beginning as well. So if you're on Windows, that should work, but if not, just add sudo to the front. what we're going to do is deploy Traefik. This is the Docker Compose. We need to create this network, which I've already done. You're just going to run docker network create proxy, and then that'll create that. And then we're going to create some volumes. We don't really need these yet. These are just for future parts of the video. Then we have Traefik, and with Traefik, we're going to bind the Docker socket. That way it can discover the containers. We're also going to bind in this Traefik YAML to etc Traefik YAML. We're also going to open up these logs so we can see log messages. Like this is just from me restarting it. Boom. So we'll clear out those. The certificates folder. So this is when we set up Let's Encrypt stuff. We're going to open up ports 40 and, or not 40, 80 and 443. We don't have to worry about this token at the moment. That's going to be for the routes. We're just going to do the very simple Traefik. So we're going to enable the dashboard. We're going to set up the Docker as the provider. So this will discover containers. We're going to set up these entry points. We're going to automatically redirect all the HTTP traffic to HTTPS. We're going to create this stats port just for like statistics, pinging it. We're going to say if the container doesn't have HTTPS certificates that Traefik can, use, it'll just ignore it and say whatever. And then we're going to enable this log to output the logs, Traefik log, and blog level error. So we can go ahead and start this with docker compose up -d, like right here. Then that's going to spin those up. Now that if we go to the labels in the Docker Compose, we need to set Traefik enable to allow it to send traffic to the container. So then you set the host name that you want to use. So we'll use Traefik.localhost. We're going to enable the TLS, both entry points. It'll let you come in. And then this is just go to the dashboard. And then we're going to set up just one middleware just to have the middleware in there. This is just a simple rate limit if you want to use it. And then you can protect this with basic auth. I will go over this in a minute. I think this will just default it to robot password. Pretty simple. And then we also have this nginx container. It's just going to, like, if you notice, we can't access it because we don't open the ports. So we have to go through the reverse proxy. And then we're going to use demo.localhost. And then this is just the labels to set it up to send it to the nginx container. To Traefik.localhost. So just ignore that and continue. And then so now we have the Traefik dashboard. We can see these two services that we have deployed. And then if you go into Traefik, you can see more information like the TLS is enabled, the API, everything like that. And then so now let's try this demo.localhost. We'll just try it right here. Demo.localhost. Boom, and we are inside the nginx container. All right, so now with Traefik, we're going to add in the metrics section. So let's go ahead and uncomment that. And what this is going to do is just enable Prometheus Metrics on that port 8083 endpoint. And then we're just going to enable like all the, have it like look at the route, like the entry points, services, routers. Cannot talk for a minute. Let's go ahead and enable the tracing too. Actually, we'll do that later. I'm going to cut that out. So once we enable that, we also need to go into this metrics folder. And then in Prometheus, I have it set up to already scrape Traefik on port 8083. So this will just naturally get those metrics. And then so now, all we have to do is docker compose up -d. You might need to add a -- force recreate. So now to recreate those. So now just to check in the dashboard to make sure it's enabled. There we go. Okay, so Prometheus is enabled. So now what we're going to do is uncomment these containers. And then let's run that compose up -d command, recreate everything. Okay, sweet. So now we have Docker. Now let's check our router. So now we should have Prometheus and metrics. So if I go to... Actually, I need to fix these paths. All right, so now we have metrics.localhost. This will go to Grafana and Prometheus.localhost. So if I go to Prometheus.localhost, you can check targets here. It's going to have some that I don't have set up yet. Not a big deal. But you can see it's connected to Traefik. And so now, if I go to metrics, oops, localhost. So here's Grafana. I go to, let's just go to, no, not right there. Sorry, explore. And then what we're going to do is select Prometheus. And we can see there should be some Traefik values in here. Yep, Traefik right here. Entry point. Whoops, here. We'll just get a metric. So there we go. We have some metric. So now we can see Prometheus is correctly getting those. And then we're getting them into Grafana. You could make some dashboards. There's also some dashboards you can add, which I think I can do this here. I have some included. So if you wanted to add this dashboard, you could just say import, paste this JSON. Oh, let's make it smaller. Sometimes that's the problem. Yeah, so it's set like even last 5 minutes. Then we can see it's getting some of these metrics. It doesn't have enough data for everything yet, but I'm sure if I like went here, reload it, it might have some more metrics. There we go. But there we go. So there's that. And then now we can go ahead and add in the tracing. All right, so we're going to add in the tracing. So to do that, we need to uncomment tempo. And then I believe we also, well, let's just also uncomment fluent bit for right now, because this does have a tracing endpoint. I'm not sure if we use it. And then let's also uncomment mini IO. And then we don't need this part. That is for something completely different. And then, oh, I need to enable all these. And let's just go ahead and enable Kuma. That's just will be a nice service. So we'll just enable that as well. And then so now just run your docker compose up-d. Oh wait, but before we do that, let's enable this Zipkin tracing endpoint. And you just point this to your tempo. So I kind of already did it for you. Then so now this will have us get a new thing. Perfect. So they're all working. And then what I should be able to do is if I go here, oops. If I go to explore, I might have to refresh the page when you do recreate, and then hit tempo. My Traefik service is there. There's all my entry points. I can see all these spans, how long it took. So now we got those working, and then it also does store them in an S3 bucket. So you can go to s3.localhost. Oops. If you want to see this, and then you can use demo, and then the password is super secret. Boom. So there's those objects. You can see tempo, and then it'll cache and store these logs or the traces here, and then yeah, that's how it works. It might take a minute for that to spin up, but no worries. They're showing up here just okay. So you can kind of see them all if you want to. Like, which ones are we going to? Like, we can go here. You can also see if you use like a middleware, it should use the middleware. I can't remember if I have. I don't know. I don't think I have any of these using a middleware. But so that's set up. That's how you do the tracing. All right, so now we're gonna do the cert, like the certificates, and I'm gonna just use one of my domains. I'm gonna make one and update my Etsy host file. So all you have to do is let's go into Traefik, and then we're going to uncomment this certificate resolver section. And then this is the email that I'm going to use that I set up for this. And then this is going to default to the production staging. So if you want to use the, what's the word? If you want to use the staging environment, you could just uncomment this. But the default will go to prod and get you real certificates. So we're going to enable that. And then now we just need to edit some of the tags, or the labels. So here we're going to use our domain name that we want to use. Here, let me minimize this for a minute. So that's the domain name that we want to use. And then we can comment that out, I guess, or it'll ignore it. But we need to add this environment variable, and we need to go get a Cloudflare API token. Actually, before we do that though, we need to create this certs folder. So create certs, and then create this acme.json file. And then you're going to do, so we're going to say cd certs. Oh, I'm already in certs. And I'm going to say chmod 600 acme.json. So those are the file permissions it needs. And then we're just going to bind this certs folder into certs. And then we're going to add these new labels. And then so this is the domain name that we're using. And then we're going to add all the wildcard for all the subdomains. So this will get certificates for anything on there. And then what you can do is here we'll update that. We're going to uncomment that, and we're going to use this new HTTPS domain. Tempo, sweet. So let's undo that one. And perfect. Okay, so now they all have the new domain name that we're going to use. And so let's go make a token really fast. All right, so I'm just going to go over how to make a API token in Cloudflare. It's really easy. So I'll provide this link. You just go to here. And then you hit create token. Let's do a custom token. And then for the token name, you could just give it something like Traefik, localhost, whatever you want. And then you're going to go to zone, and you will select DNS, edit, and then you're going to include specific zone, the one you want to put it on, and then you can just kind of leave those as they are, and then just make sure this is correct, and then you hit create token. And then this will give you your token. And here, we can try this out. Boom. So if I hit that, this API token is valid. And then now that we have our token made, and you're just going to set that token in here. It's going to want to be the same name as whatever variable you choose. And then so what we're going to do now is we're just going to say Docker compose up, force recreate. So now we're going to recreate everything. Might take a minute. And then let's just say Docker logs Traefik. Okay, no errors popped up, which is good. So let's get back here. And then I don't think Traefik.localhost will work anymore. Nope. So let's go to Traefik.local.spackle.io. Ooh, and now it worked with HTTPS certificates. So connection is secure. It got it for Let's Encrypt. And if I look in here, it's got all my new domain names. So if I look at one of them right here, you'll see the certificate resolver information. And you can actually, if you need another subdomain like Traefik, like star.traefik, you can actually add another domain thing attached to this certificate resolver that it'll get for. You just add new labels with the new sans property. And then, yeah, that's it. So now everything is using HTTPS. I'm just going to do this to make it easy. So if I go to metrics, now I'm at my Grafana one. I have that same Traefik dashboard. Now I have a lot more information because we've been using it. So pretty cool. With the logs. So if you do want to use that, we'll put it on debug. Okay, you can also go here to Loki. Yeah, we have all those traffic logs here. And then kind of make it easy, you can add a JSON parser. I'm gonna run that again. You can prettify it. Then it'll kind of show you all the information. So sweet. But yeah, that's how it works, and that's how you can use Traefik. We have some other services available on here. So now, instead of using localhost, you could use your domain. And I think I forgot to show you guys how to update those. Really easy. So let me clear this out. I'm just going to edit my Etsy host file. And then there they are. I just add them in here like that. And I'll include a README that'll show you how to do all this stuff. But yeah, that's kind of a quick guide going through and how Traefik works and how you can kind of learn it using localhost, get HTTPS for your own stuff. And you can use whatever domain name you have, or you don't have to use local. You could use anything, whatever you want. Thanks, guys.